Ølåf Citizens episode 2, take 1.
So Myles, I know you're from Birmingham.
Yes, man.
Can you maybe tell me something about your like teenage years?
My childhood.
Childhood.
So growing up in Birmingham, bro, like as you know, like for me as a kid, I was very sporty. You know, like my dad was a very good athlete, and he's actually from the Caribbean island, like in Jamaica. So, you know, you have that very much athletic upbringing. He was actually a manager at a sports centre for like 20 years.
I know that you told me about the story. You had to work there.
Yeah. So I worked in a sports centre from like 15, 16 years old, and all my friends were like, "Yo, like you're gonna have a sweet job there. Your dad's the manager, easy, you know." But no,
he let you clean
first day cleaning the toilets, cleaning the showers, you know, like. Yeah, that was my dad with his upbringing. But yeah, it was sport was a big part of my childhood as I was coming up in Birmingham, and my dad was a big driving force behind that because of his background in sport, and like I said, being a manager at the sports centre, I grew up in the sports centre, to be honest with you. Like I was there every day, tennis, football, trampolining, gymnastics, you know, just doing all kinds of things. And then like about 11, 12 years old.
You started tennis at that age?
Yeah. No, I started tennis at like 5 or 6.
Oh, okay.
But then I was doing all these other sports too, like gymnastics, trampolining, football, all these other sports. But then like 11, 12, I had a decision to make whether I had to choose football or tennis, you know, because then you have to really focus on one of the disciplines.
Yeah.
And at that point, Aston Villa is a football club in Birmingham, like it's a team I support. They were interested in bringing me to, like they bring a lot of kids to the academy at that age for trialling and whatnot. Yeah. And at the same time, the county, Warwickshire, was also interested in bringing me to there for also trials in tennis. Nice. So it was a decision to be made, which one do I do? You can't do both. And my dad actually decided for me. I didn't decide myself. Yeah. My dad decided for me actually, and so yeah, I went down the tennis route and I played tennis from that day. It was my life for the next 8-9 years. Nice. Every day.
And you were top 25 best tennis player.
Yeah, and under 18s.
Under
top
18.
25 in the UK.
Crazy.
And played some international tournaments too, travelled to Miami, training camps in Spain. I played for a club in Germany, in Bremen, nice. Northwest Germany. I played for this club for 6 years. Wow. Winter and summer seasons. I'd get flown out, I'd play for this club. It was nice, 'cause at the time I was, actually when I first started playing for them I was 16, so I still had the ambition to be a professional tennis player. And then I continued to play for them until I was like 22, something like this. So at that age, I was then at university, I was studying. So it was actually turned into a nice little extra bit of cash because I get paid. Nice. I used to get paid to play for this club. So yeah, man, so I traveled a lot, learned a lot. Something for me actually, something I'm going to ensure that my children do is to play sport, bro, because for me, like, you learn a lot of good values in life. Discipline, focus, setting goals, having aspiration, how to take defeat too, you know. That's a big part of sport. A big part of being a good athlete is being able to take defeat and understand why you lost and evaluate it and then use that defeat to get better, you know.
And was it always hard for you and your dad, like, always watching you, like, you've lost this game? He was like...
I mean, actually, like, my dad was the one that installed that in me. Like, you need to embrace defeat and, like, learn, like evaluate it. Don't lose and then think, like, I'm out. Like, I'm not doing this anymore, you know? That's totally the wrong attitude, you know? And you have to embrace defeat, really evaluate, like, why did you lose? Break it down and then use that actually, use that then to like, move on to the next step, like, and use that to get stronger, you know. And that's something for me that is outside of sport. That's business as well. That's career. That's lifestyle. Everything, you know. So for me, sport is something that I'm definitely going to encourage my children to do because the values that you learn from sport are amazing. So that was my childhood in Birmingham. Was going through this.
And from that time, You were also already studying like for footwear developer?
No, that time like.
Because you were in uni, right?
I went to uni, but after my tennis career. Like, because tennis at that point was what I wanted to be. I wanted to be a professional tennis player. You know, that was my dream in life, to make money from being an athlete.
Yeah.
And but like at 16, 17, I was very good for under 18s. As a junior, my style of tennis was perfect for being a good junior. Yeah. But it wasn't good for being a good senior. Yeah. You know, and I didn't have that like I didn't have the long-term view on it to practice, to train the style of tennis needed to be a good senior. I didn't have that vision to start that at 14, 15, 16. Yeah. I was very focused on winning now, so I trained to be a good junior. Like my style of tennis was trained to be good at that age. Yeah. What I should have done, and this is something that I use now actually in my career, is you need to be training now for the future. Yeah. You know, you have to be exercising your brain, exercising like reading, taking on knowledge to help you get better in the future, to help you achieve goals in 2 years, in 3 years time, not right now.
But it's also your age, I think, at that time. There's so many other things happening.
Of course, at that age as well, you don't have the maturity either. You know, actually, my coach at that time, he did, of course, older, had the experience, he had the vision, and he would tell me like, hey, you have to train a certain way, so that when you get to men's, you're ready. And I remember I did it actually for a couple of matches. I did it and I lost because that style of tennis wasn't comfortable to me, and I wasn't used to playing that way, so I wasn't that good at it, and I lost. So I switched straight back
to what you're used to,
what I knew what to do, and I knew how to win matches. Yeah. But then when I got to seniors, that style of tennis just got destroyed, you know. So I tried for like 9 months, and then I realized at that point, like the amount of training I'm going to need to get to a level where I can compete in men's tennis, you're looking at maybe 3 years of training, you know. And then I'm only at a level where I can compete. I'm still not making money, you know. Yeah. So that was a point where I decided to leave it and then switch to like my other passion in life, which was constructing, designing, making, architecture, that kind of thing. And that's when I enrolled in university. But
going from being a top 25 tennis player to working for, this is a very big, fast way of like your life, but going from that to being this Nike footwear developer, how did that like actually happen?
So actually, the funniest thing about this, about how I got into education actually, is at the time I was dating a girl from my hometown. Of course. You know, of course. Always involving women, huh?
An older girl, right? It's a little bit older.
No, that was later on in life. Yeah. That was like when I was 21, but at that time I was 18, 19, I just finished playing tennis. Yeah. And I was a little bit like, my relationship actually with my dad wasn't great because he saw that I'd quit the sport and he thought I was a bit of a failure at that point. Yeah. And I just started dating this girl in my hometown. My dad knew her family and he wasn't really that cool with the family actually. So, but anyway, I thought I was in love with this girl. And she went to university in the north of the country, like maybe 4 hours from where I lived in Birmingham. Yeah. And at that point I was like, damn, like I want to be close to this girl, you know. And I had some friends that were already at university in Sheffield at the time, which is like an hour from where she was. So I was like, perfect. Yeah. So I moved there. I just did actually a lifeguard job. I was a lifeguard for like a couple of months first when I moved there. Yeah. And then I was like, hang on, like I'm here. I may as well sign up to uni as I'm here anyway. My friends were already at that university, so I was like, screw it, let's sign up for a course. It was like a month before the new term began, so perfect. Perfect, but also it means my options are limited, you know, because normally you'd sign up 6 months before, you know. Yeah. So I only had whatever classes were left, and the only class that was left was sports technology. Wow. Which is like, at that point, sounded like something perfect for me. So I literally signed up to this course. 3.5 weeks later, I'm sat in a classroom, like out of nowhere, just because of this girl, you know. The relationship lasted only 1 year, but it got me to university. It started me on this crazy journey, which was insane. Tash is her name, actually. So yeah, like inadvertently, thanks to her, I went to university. I did I did 2 years sports technology, and I did 1 year with a company called Labo Sports. Super random. It's like they actually do performance tests on sports surfaces. So for like Champions League games, World Cup hockey games, even Premier League games, ITF in tennis matches, this kind of thing, the surfaces need to pass a certain standard, and this company did those tests. And there's not many companies that do these tests, you know. So I traveled the world, bro. I went to Malaysia, I went to Singapore, all over Europe.
Crazy.
Random Austria, Sweden, Switzerland, Serbia, all over Ireland. I went everywhere with this placement year, just traveling.
Oh, it's a placement year?
Yeah, it's an internship for 1 year. I tested Wembley, Man City, the National Stadium.
But how do you got that internship?
I just hustled just online, you know, just finding them, emailing them, went at a little interview. And
in your interview or resume, it says like, oh, I used to be a
tennis player. All this sport helps.
Yeah,
you know, it always helps.
I think it helped you a lot. I told you before,
massively. And then following on from that, then at the end of that course, the course was not a very good course actually, because it was I was the first round of students taking this course at Sheffield. So the course was actually a bit of a mess. You know, it wasn't well structured. I didn't get from it what I intended to get from the course actually. And then that's when I was like, if I really want to get a job in product development, product design, product engineering, I need to have something more really. And that's when I did the Masters in Design and Engineering at Loughborough. So I did 1 year Masters Design Engineering at Loughborough to help me get the next level. Okay. And then following on from that, then I did my Masters project, I did that with Umbro. And then I wanted to get a job with Umbro at that point, of course, but then Nike owned Umbro. Nike sold...
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, Nike used to own Umbro, so they bought Umbro actually to get into the UK market.
Yeah.
It didn't really work out for them, so they sold Umbro, but before they sold them, they took all their best players, best brands, best clubs, everything, so gutted Umbro. Yeah. And which meant I couldn't then work for Umbro. And at that point I was like, damn man, like now what am I gonna do? I was really intent on working for Umbro at that point. But then
it's a very UK heritage.
Yeah, exactly, very UK heritage, close to home, Manchester. I understand the brand. But then 2 months later, actually, I had the interview with Nike. Nice. Just before I graduated, actually, from my engineering design masters, and then I started like 2 months after that.
But was that immediately a job, or was that?
Yeah, no, it was a job. It's a job. Actually, like again.
Because if I look at our friends, right, like a lot of them, they start with that
internship.
It's not an internship. It's like they also recruit people from. It's a blue badge or something like, right?
Like an ETW, it's you have two you have internship, you have the ETW, but you're not full time, you know.
Yeah. So you were very lucky immediately.
I was incredibly lucky, bro, because I had my first boss at Nike, really good guy, Fabio is his name, Italian guy. He started at Nike very young, like 21 in Italy, Montebelluna. Yeah. But
you've told me about that.
I was interested in moving to that team. Yeah. So he started very young in a very high spec team. Yeah. And I was his first recruit, so he was manager at the time in the Amsterdam office, and I was his first opportunity to hire. So he wanted to give the opportunity he had, starting very young with no experience. He wanted to give that to someone else, you know, as well. So the kid that actually I replaced was like 5 years experience as a footwear developer. So my boss took a big gamble replacing that experience with complete youth, you know, like I didn't even do a footwear course, bro. Crazy. Like I didn't do one module on footwear. I knew nothing about footwear. I just knew how to create product in my head, but I didn't know anything about footwear. Like I was more in like hard goods, like shin pads, bags, equipment. Like I wasn't in footwear specific at all. So he took a gamble on me, he brought me in. I was very lucky. Any other manager would probably hire experience.
Of course.
But this guy hired youth from university, so that was my first job out of school, moving from Birmingham to Amsterdam, you know, like super
And I
exciting.
think a lot of people that move from outside of the Netherlands to Hilversum actually, they would even live in Hilversum instead of Amsterdam. So
I mean,
you were like immediately, no, let me go to the
But again, I was lucky because I was brought in on a full-time contract.
Yes.
So then you have all the
a little bit,
benefits, you have the support from Nike and stuff. So straight away I was in the heart of the city and stuff. It took me a while to find a house, like you know how it is in Amsterdam. But I mean, straight in, I was very lucky to get in as I did. Mm-hmm. It was an entry-level job, but still to get in like I did, full-time, with the proper contract. Very lucky. And then with a brand like Nike, bro, like once you're in...
Yeah, you're in,
Like
and I think we had this conversation again. I think like most people that work at Nike, that excel very quickly, they have this they have this sport background, I think.
Like, for sure. It's important.
It's like it's a small start of like...
I mean, Nike is a sports brand, right?
Yeah.
So like one of the, like for them, maybe... Let's say the two most important things is your love for sport. You know, mm-hmm. If you have a background in sport, I mean, just the bare minimum is to have a love for sport. If you then have achieved something in sport, that's obviously really well sought after. And then passion, to have that for product, passion for the brand, passion for sport. These two things, if you show that you love sport and you played sport to a high level, that's important. And then passion is. Nike loves passionate people, man. Yeah. Really, they love passionate people. So these are the two things that you need to show. So yeah, the sporting background helped me a lot. The traveling, also helped me a lot too.
I think you were that passionate of like moving from Birmingham to Amsterdam, and then from Amsterdam now you're living in Vietnam.
To Vietnam. I mean, like for me, actually, when I joined Nike, actually, I was still fresh from the sports side of things, still fresh from being an athlete, you know. So I had that mentality still, like being a high performance athlete, you know. Yeah. So when I joined Nike, it was I wanted to create product. I wanted to work on product, engineer product for athletes, you know, to help them move quicker, to help them lift more, you know. Like I wanted to create product to make athletes' performance better. You know, that was my goal.
Was still in your own world also.
Yeah, I mean, exactly.
What you used to be.
Exactly. Yeah. So it was so fresh.
Yeah.
So that was my goal, and I really wanted to work with athletes to help create product that would make them better at, at doing what is that they do. Mm-hmm. But then the team in Amsterdam is a lifestyle team, sportswear team, fashion team. Yeah. So it took me away from that a little bit. So the Vietnam opportunity, when that came, I was super keen because then it would take me back to the very technical product. And
was that a quick decision? Or it took you a long time? Like?
Well, you know, like I love Amsterdam. You know, like I really love the city. So
I think even more than Birmingham.
Way. I mean, I don't want to say way more because Birmingham is my home, but like the way that
you would see yourself living here.
Amsterdam is will be where I settle for sure. This will be my base for sure. Whatever I decide to do in the future, Amsterdam will be my base definitely. I mean, as soon as I came to the city, once I met after the first 6 months, and I met all you boys as well. Just the fit was, you know, the click was amazing. Like really, Amsterdam really reflects who I am as well. Like it really fits all the pieces of who I am and my character.
And I know that like before you were leaving to Vietnam, we had on, I think it was Sundays, I think the store was not even open. No, we had like every Sunday
we would have a chat, bro.
We would have a chat about your career,
exactly,
like where to go.
So your question was it a quick decision?
Yeah.
But we had our chats, bro, you know.
Every Sunday. The store wasn't there yet. So.
Down in the pipe, right?
No, it was in the city centers like this small lunch
room. The Greenwoods.
Yeah,
the Greenwoods. Yeah.
And then they changed the food that we had, the lunch menu.
With the avocado.
But it was something else. They had brown chicken, something else. I don't know.
Yeah, it's changed now.
Yeah.
But was it a quick decision? No, I mean, well, we had our conversations, you know, that obviously helped. Yeah. But it was a fairly quick decision, you know. I talked with Matt as well, you know.
Of course.
I got his opinion on it too. But it was a fairly quick decision because like my background in design engineering, like that's my master's, that was very technical, you know. And I loved the work I was doing in Amsterdam, but it wasn't technical. Like we were doing basically colours, graphics and materials on footwear only. We weren't doing new midsoles, outsoles, we weren't doing new uppers, like actually creating shoes. Mm-hmm. We were just basically, colours, graphics, materials, you know, on footwear. And I was very hungry to learn more about about shoemaking, you know, like really the technical side of shoemaking. And this goes back to my master's in design engineering, you know, being really technical.
But also maybe your background, if like you were hungry enough, like I've been doing this same thing the last 2 years, and I think that's definitely your drive in life. I can see that.
That also comes from sport, bro.
Going
back to sport and going back to me when I have children, they're gonna do sport, bro, for sure, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't matter if they become a professional athlete. I really don't care.
No, but you knew you had to push yourself to the next.
That you learn.
But to push yourself that much of going from Birmingham to Amsterdam, that's not a big deal. But going from
Amsterdam to Vietnam,
that's a hard, because no one in your age group is doing that.
No.
It's all, I think, people with families.
Actually, I was the first developer of my level at Nike to be moved to Asia on an expat contract.
Yeah.
So that was.
You were one level lower than what's used to go there, right?
What you should be, yeah, exactly. So I was again lucky. Actually, throughout my 28 years, I have been blessed with really good fortune. Actually, is this wood? Touch wood. Like I hope this continues.
Ah,
you know?
Smart.
So yeah, I've been blessed like that. But yeah, I mean, for me, it was an easy decision from a career standpoint, just because I felt like I'd reached the ceiling already in the Amsterdam team.
Yeah,
like
I saw that.
In what I had learned in 2 years, I was happy, you know. But I really wanted to learn more.
Yeah.
Actually,
you could easily be comfortable and stay here.
For me, like the scariest thing for me is comfort zones.
Yeah.
I hate comfort zones, bro. You know, I hate to be too comfortable. I can be comfortable when I'm 60, you know.
Yeah.
But I don't need to be comfortable in my mid-20s. Like this is the time where you should be uncomfortable. You know, pushing and stretching and really finding out like who you are and finding out how far you can go in life. You know. So.
And you've been used to that in your teenage, like going to Germany.
Exactly, like always moving alone, like traveling, being very single-minded. Tennis is a single sport. That's what actually I love about tennis is. I'm quite selfish, you know. Like when you win, you take all the glory. You know? You take all the glory yourself. You know? A team sport, when you win as a team. You know, you share that. You share that success, which is nice. But I like to have the glory for myself, you know. And then when you lose, there's no one to blame. Again, in a team sport, if you lose, you know, maybe it's someone else's fault, and that sucks, you know, because you played well. What I like about tennis is when you lose, it's all on you. So
but working at a big company, it's like a team sport also.
It is.
On the development level, it's all you.
It is. You do need to be a team player, of course, but the values you learn from a single sport, like to be very single-minded and focused, and learn how to strive for that sole success, and also understand when you make a mistake, it's entirely on you how to correct that. You know. So this has definitely helped me throughout my career, and also helped me like make tough decisions like moving from Amsterdam to Vietnam, and then dealing with the
group pressure of like we have this group chat.
Yeah, exactly. Dealing with the group pressure and
what's happening
dealing
here?
with the FOMO and you know, living in the Sahara and struggling like this, you know, like.
So your first month was the worst, I think, right?
The first month was brutal, but actually I had a boy, Min. Did you meet Min?
No, I think Hussein.
The Vietnamese guy.
Hussein connected
Hussein
you with him, right?
Abda met him too. He's from Germany.
From Germany,
in Berlin actually.
But you've been before moving there. You already went.
I went
for like for
just one quick week,
and then he was already there.
Yeah, so you know Flo out in Berlin.
Yeah.
So Flo was the guy who actually plugged me up with Min.
Okay.
And so Flo, man, like thank you to Flo, because if he hadn't plugged me up with Min, and thank you to Min, of course. The first month would have been brutal. I'm not even sure if I would have made it. I don't know. It was, man, it's so different over there, you know.
Yeah. You came back that first week, that small trip, and you were like, "Hey,
that was December."
Pretty exciting.
That was December, yeah.
You've met already the right people.
Exactly, but this is because of Min. So
Min, of course.
Min, like from day one, he really had my back. He was there on the internship too until February, March. So for the first 2.5 months, I was good with him, and he showed me the city.
You got to know his friends.
like. and also the spots that were as comfortable as they can be for people like us, because really there's not many people, not to be egotistical at all, there's not many people like on our kind of thinking level, on our wavelength, you know.
Especially in your age group.
Especially in my age group,
I think,
especially in my age group.
The system is not,
expat community there is either much older, which is cool, no problem, like I have no problem with this and that's fun, but either much older or the English teaching kind of thing, you know. So not really many people there to really connect with and really click with, but Min made that transition
smooth,
as smooth as it could be, you know. And then of course I just focused on the work, you know. And then with the travel and everything, again, from traveling from a very early age, you know, like actually when we live here in Europe, these cities like Hong Kong, Bangkok, Shanghai
are so far away.
Taipei, Tokyo, of course, Seoul. These cities are so far away and they're so like mysterious to us.
But you were lucky that the guys from Daily Paper, of course, they do the production there. So they were there.
They were there in Vietnam, but I mean a while after I moved there, you know. But these cities are so mysterious to us, and we always like to explore. So that was another amazing thing. And you know Marlon, right?
Yeah, of course.
Marlon again. So
from Hong Kong, right?
From Hong Kong. Remember the Filling Pieces party on New Year's Eve?
Yeah.
When it was the first one. It was the first one. The first one. 2015 into 16.
That was
16 into 17.
You were still here?
I was still here. I was moving out to Asia like a week later.
Yeah.
And Marlon lives in Hong Kong, so again, back to this, how the transition was so smooth.
He was
so
like,
Min helped me. February I went to Hong Kong for like a week. Marlon introduced me to Arthur, Tom Bray, the Yeti Boys, and then everyone at the Hypebeast team out in Hong Kong too. And then from that, like just my network throughout Asia just flew off, you know. So everywhere that I moved, I had someone in these cities, and then that made traveling around Asia so much easier. And I built up a really good Asian network. That also made it very easy. So two things
for you to feel at home.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, as easy as it would be, you know. Yeah. So two things really happened, like Min and Marlon.
In the same time of moving to Vietnam, you were also working on new cool projects, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's the reason why I moved there, was to work on different products and also to work on a more technical footwear too, you know, like actual new product creation. So like the first year was focused on, well, I went there to create running product, which after the first year it was good, but I really felt like I'd learned how to make a running shoe, so I wanted to learn something more.
You wanted to push yourself to the next level again.
Exactly. Yeah. Like I said, like in Vietnam we have the full range of footwear there. We make everything in Vietnam. So I wanted to get as much exposure to all these different kind of footwear as possible. And my boss at the time, really good boss, really supported me with this. And yeah, like just one day he sends me an email.
Go more in trend and innovation.
I got you some new projects, and this was the Off-White project with Nike, which was amazing. Like he obviously had no idea what Off-White was. It's just, to him, it's just another project, you know. Yeah. So
for you, it was like wow.
For me, that was a lot of fun. To work
exactly what you needed at that time.
Exactly. That's really what I needed at that time, was something fresh, something new, something challenging. And I wanted a bit of a lifestyle kind of project too. So I did the free shoes from the Off-White collection.
That were made in Vietnam.
That were made in Vietnam. The only shoes that were made in Vietnam. I worked on those for like 6-7 months, and then following on from that, then I moved into football and American football. So now I like worked on some boots for the World Cup, some American football cleats, some lacrosse stuff. Skateboarding.
But working on something like Off-White, something that had to do more with design and innovation, and knowing us in Amsterdam, younger brands, it starts to do small things in innovation. How much did that help you to understand what kind of products you had to make? Or
honestly, like massively, because through like you boys and the rest of the crew, like I really, and just through in the group chat, bro, to honestly, like just reading the conversations in the group chat, I'm learning about this side of the industry too. You know, the sportswear side, the sports side, athlete side. I've got that. The performance stuff, I've got that. But the fashion and lifestyle stuff, I didn't have a good understanding of. So yeah, I mean, I learned a lot from yourself and the rest of the boys on that side of the industry. And for sure, when I had that project, that I was really well equipped entering that project just to have a really good understanding of the industry at the time from a fashion and lifestyle side, and then what was required in a construction view on these products, you know, like on these shoes. So for sure, my time, because when I actually entered into Amsterdam, into Nike, I was very much still with the athlete mindset, and then learning through you boys and the squad, like understanding how you approach your businesses, and learning as well how all the different brands from the fashion and lifestyle side, how they view design and aesthetics, construction. Learning all of this through you definitely equipped me very well for entering that project. I mean, actually in the Asia side, very few people have that kind of knowledge and understanding to, you know, when you receive the tech pack, to truly understand like what the designer is trying to get at, what they're trying to achieve. Very few people have that on the Asia side. That you have to be disruptive, to be different, compared to the rest of the market. Truly understanding like what the designer's trying to achieve, you know. And I understood very clearly because of the last 3 years of socializing with you boys and learning on the fashion and lifestyle side of things, learning trends, how they move, how they change, how they shift. Help me find my store. Help you find your store, exactly, on the Prinsengracht. That was a crazy trip too. Yeah, man. And that's a beautiful store. That was like just out of nowhere. Out of nowhere. This one was where like standard. I just think we just came from that lunch room. We came from Greenwoods. Yeah. We came from Greenwoods and we were talking about the future and what's next and stuff. And the store was the future for you. Yeah. You wanted to find a store, a space. You pushed me to go inside. Yeah, and that store. And actually, the store at the time was not split up very well at all. Not at all. So that actually made you think you weren't interested. No, I think I have never had a pop-up store. Yeah. So to go into that decision of getting an actual store, that was actually the biggest question at that time for me. But it happened quick too after that. 2 months later. Super quick. Yeah. I made a decision fast, and it was the right one though. It's a beautiful space. But yeah, I always like the fact that I always like to share that story too, man. Like I was part of that, you know, part of that influencing to help you take that store. Yeah. Let's see over 5 years. Huh? Let's see this story in 5 years. Yeah. No, it's a beautiful space, man. I always like to share that story. Nice. Yeah, that was cool. Okay. Thanks for coming. Thank you. Thanks for this wonderful story. Thank you, bro. It's good.